Hi, my name's Erin Wien, and I will be your child's geometry teacher this year. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself and a little bit of information about the class. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I graduated from Greenwood High School and then went on to Purdue University. And this is my 29th year at Carmel High School. I can't even believe when I say that. This was my first job out of Purdue, and I've stayed here ever since. When the Freshman Center opened, I volunteered to come over to the Freshman Center. I love working with freshmen. Freshmen are my favorite age. The energy they bring is contagious. It's a lot of fun, and they still like school, and I enjoy being with them each day. I also got my master's from Ball State University. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how class will run. When the students come in, I randomize them into groups of 3 each class period so that they're always working with different kids. That dynamic is fantastic because the kids get to know each other and they get to work with different personalities each day. Then what we'll do is we'll look at the topic that we're talking about this day, and I will let them kind of grapple with it and see what they can do with it, just to see if they can connect it to mathematics that they've had in middle school or elementary. And as they work with groups of 3, they will take the math, and a lot of times it's connected to a real world problem or real world issue. And I will look at how much they know and then teach them based off of how much they know in their groups and how well they did. So we'll go over it after that, after they've had a chance to work through it a little bit. Once we go over it, I will send them to vertical whiteboards. And this is where the magic begins, because the kids working at the vertical spaces is fantastic. They get to work standing up, which is great, and they can see each other's work so that if they're struggling on something, they can look around and find some support. And then I will go around and check that they're doing things correctly and teach and reteach where need be. I love having the kids work at boards. It's a lot of fun and very energetic in here. Once they've had the board work and they know that in a group of 3 they can do it, I usually send them back to their desks to try some questions by themselves. So now that they know they can do it in a group, could they do it on their own? So we'll practice a little bit in the workbook when we have time to make sure that they have the concepts and that they can sit and do them themselves, still with the support of the group if they have questions. Homework each night is, most of the time it's online, and so the students will be using the Reveal platform. They're aware of how to get there. If the homework is not online, it will be a worksheet, and we will have homework every night. We also use another practice on Delta Math is what it's called, and the kids will use that to help practice their algebra skills, to keep their algebra skills sharp, because they'll be in Algebra 2 next year. So you might see Delta Math as a homework. The homework should not take them very long. I would say 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes, but that should be max. If your child is taking an extraordinarily long time on the homework, let me know, because it should not be, the intent isn't for it to be that long. As far as supplies for the class, just a couple things. Number 1, I would love for them to have a binder, a 3-ring binder. They can use a folder, but a binder will hold their papers a little bit easier to find, and I do hole punch everything so they can put that in there. They also need a calculator. So this is not the one they have to have, but this is a good one if they don't have one. Most of the kids have one now, but if they don't have one, please make sure that they get one of these or a different scientific calculator. This is the TI-30X2S. It is linked in my Canvas page under class resources if you want to see it, but it's probably the most common one that's sold at the stores for maybe $15, or you can order it on Amazon, but they will need a calculator almost every day in class. As far as the grade makeup, their grade is 90% assessment and 10% formative, which would be the practice. So 90% of their grade will come from a chapter test that they take each chapter that we cover. We usually have about 5 to 6 a semester. They will not have quizzes. The test will be the only summative that goes into the 90. The 10% that they have will be made up of their homework or anything we've done in class. I also look at effort for this. So if your child is giving me a lot of effort but struggling on the homework, then that grade, the effort can be reflected in that grade also. Retake policy, I love to allow kids to retake because I think it's important that they learn, and I want them to learn it well. So if your child wants to retake, the only thing I ask is that they complete all of the homework on time for that module, which is due by the next class period. And I ask that they participate every day in class. So in the groups and at the boards, if they're doing those things, then I'll bring them in and we'll go over and reteach the material, relearn the material, and then look at retaking portions of the test or the entire test. Lastly, let me just make sure. No, I have two more things I want to say. So help. If your child needs help, we have SSRT every other day. So that is a great time for your child to come in and get one-on-one help. I do have 2 full-time tutors for geometry as well as myself in SSRT. So all they have to do if they're struggling on something is ask for a pass, and I will bring them in and go over things. The homework is a good indicator if they need help. So if they're struggling on the homework, what they should do is get a pass and come in. We'll go over the homework, and then I'll give them additional practice. That's very similar to the homework to make sure that they've got the concept. And lastly, my goal for your child. So this is the most important one. I don't need your child to I guess I don't need them to be a 100% accurate mathematician in the sense that I want them to have confidence. So geometry, for me, it's my favorite subject to teach. It's a good chance for the kids to see visual shapes. They usually do very well, but I want their confidence to grow. So my number one goal is for them to leave liking math. Some kids come in and they didn't have the great experience in Algebra 1 or they didn't really enjoy math. But my goal is at the end of the year, I want them to walk out of my room and say, I am good at math and I actually enjoy it. That way their pathways as they turn into adults, that stays open for them. Math can give you lots of options in life, and so I want them to be confident. So for me, that's my number one goal, in addition to doing well in the class. If you have any questions, please reach out and I will get back to you. And I am so excited to get to spend this school year with your child. Thank you.